I'm sorry to report that over the weekend there was a horrific anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado. A man in the country illegally, according to DHS, used a flamethrower, homemade, and Molotov cocktails to set people on fire at a Jewish community event held in support of hostages in Gaza.
There was at least one party rolling around in flames.
Witnesses describe seeing the flames as people poured buckets of water onto burn victims. At least 8 people were hurt between the ages of 52 and 88, according to authorities. Among the injured is a Holocaust survivor.
The real story is just not the madman who went after innocent Jews. The real story is how some of the world's largest media outlets buried the truth to support their bias, to support their narrative. Let me give you a few examples. Headlines from the Associated Press. FBI and law enforcement respond to terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Now, why is that what I consider to be bias? It doesn't say anything about the motive for the attack. Not until the 4th paragraph does it mention the attack took place at a demonstration to release Israeli hostages. And no mention of the attacker screaming, "Free Palestine," even though it was all caught on tape. This wasn't speculation.
The man yelling "Free Palestine" allegedly used a makeshift flamethrower.
Okay, ABC News. Boulder attack updates. Multiple people injured in attack of terror, FBI says. First paragraph. A heinous attack on a pedestrian mall left multiple people hurt, including some who appeared to have life-threatening injuries. Okay, we're still reading, we're still digging. Finally, you get to the second paragraph. Police said the attack occurred where a pro-Israel demonstration was being conducted. Still doesn't say that the attack was on pro-Israeli demonstrators. It just happened where they were. Reuters, male suspect in custody following Colorado attack that FBI says was targeted. In the second paragraph, we learn the attack was against Jews. CBS, attack at Boulder's Pearl Street Mall in Colorado burned several people, police say, suspect in custody. Come on. Really? Really? They just don't want to say it. NBC, advocates for Israeli hostages hurt. Gotta say, better than AP, Reuters, and CBS, but advocates for Israeli hostages in Gaza. How about innocent Jews? But I do give it to them, that was better. Bottom line, if the victims were any other group, their identity would be headline 1. Why is it different when the targets are Jewish? Why do we allow this? How can mainstream media be so blatantly anti-Semitic to whitewash an attack on innocent American Jews in Colorado? And this isn't isolated, this isn't new. April 2024 in Teaneck, New Jersey, 100 pro-Palestinian protesters were bussed into the city to disrupt an event honoring Zaka volunteers. Zaka is an Israeli humanitarian search and rescue organization. They gather bodies and body parts because part of the Jewish religion requires to honor the dead that you gather even drops of blood and get it back together for the families. And they do this whether the victims are Jewish or whether they aren't. I just spoke at a Zaka event for the Jerusalem Post in New York just a week ago, honoring these brave men and women. An angry mob waved posters falsely accusing Israel of genocide and chanted Allah Akbar and Intifada Revolution. A pro-Israel crowd gathered to prevent the protesters from disrupting the event. They played Israeli music and sang the Star-Spangled Banner. The New York Times did not mention the anti-Semitic rhetoric or threats made by the pro-Palestinians. Instead, it described the angry mob as having traded profanities and taunts with a much smaller group of pro-Israel counter-demonstrators. Look, this isn't just a mistake, it's a pattern. Christine Rosen, in her op-ed, Why the Media Ignore Anti-Semitism, exposed the media's double standard using that New York Times reporting. She said, in the Times rendering, calls to eliminate the Jewish state and attacks on Jews for being Jews were treated like an exchange of playground insults. She asked us to imagine if an elderly black civil rights activist were heckled with racial slurs while speaking about Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Every major outlet would cover it nonstop. Calling for the elimination of Jewish people is not taunting, it's hate speech. So why is the media whitewashing it? The real story is bigger than one attack. This wasn't just an attack. It wasn't just a hate crime. It was a moment when the media had a choice. And they chose to look away because they don't like the narrative. Call it what it is. This was terrorism. And if you're not clear what terrorism is, let me tell you, it's the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political or ideological aims. You don't get to cherry pick which victims deserve empathy. If this happened at a mosque or a BLM rally, it would have led the news cycle for a week, and it should. I'm not saying they should get better treatment, they should get equal treatment. Because it was Jews, the fact was buried, edited, reworded. It's a terrible double standard. When the media scrubs out that Jews were targeted, they're not just editing, they're colluding with a narrative. You don't scream Free Palestine, throw firebombs, and get labeled a protester. That's not protesting. That's attempted murder. That's not journalism. That's propaganda. You don't talk about nuance when somebody's lit on fire. There's algorithmic bias. The system can bury some stories and amplify others based on who's controlling the algorithm. Look, this isn't just misinformation. They're shadow banning certain stories. Some stuff is blacklisted, some gets to you, some it doesn't. This is censorship. This should really bother you. Whether it's a government agency or whether it's a corporate figure, who knows who's controlling it, but it shouldn't matter. You're not getting the full information because you never see what's missing. When you don't see it, that's the most dangerous kind of censorship. In authoritarian regimes, dissenters are dragged away. In algorithmic societies, dissenters just disappear from your feed. You don't even know there was another side to the story. That should bother you a lot. It bothers me a lot. So deprogram yourself. The truth is out there. You just need to look for it, and you need to realize that if you're reading a headline and another headline and another headline and they're all the same way, maybe you need to go look somewhere else. You need to go look for the real story. And I'm going to give it to you here. So subscribe, follow to get the real story. Wherever you get your podcast, you'll get every one of these because I'm going to be talking about it every day. Maybe not popular, maybe they don't like me talking about it, but I'm going to talk about it. So hit the button, subscribe, follow, because I'm going to tell you the truth, popular or otherwise. Wherever you're getting the real story, make sure you subscribe and follow. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, Dr. Phil here. My network, Merit TV, has it all.
Now, let me blow your mind.
Merit TV's got the news that matters.
The selection of a new pope.
Entertainment you crave.
Busted.
Everybody in a good mood today?
And live events.
Surprise.
What am I, chopped liver?
With serious punch.
Big shot.
Go to merittv.com and download the Merit TV app today.
This episode is brought to you by Masa Chips. For decades, chips were fried in tallow until big corporations switched to cheap seed oils. Now, seed oils make up 20% of the average American's daily calories, linked to inflammation and metabolic issues. Masa is bringing back the good stuff with 3 simple ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. No seed oils, no junk, just a crunchy, sturdy chip that won't break in your guac. Masa Chips is beloved by tens of thousands of customers and has been endorsed by industry-leading health and nutrition experts like Ben Greenfield and Gary Brecka. Ready to give Masa a try? Go to masachips.com/merit and use code MERIT for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/merit and code MERIT for 25% off your first order.